Hello, UCAR. Peter Christensen here, coming to you from the CEO's desk. The day is here, the long-awaited moment. The UAR forms have dropped. So the new forms that comply with the settlement that we've all been waiting for are out. And you should have received an email with a list of those forms, along with a link to the form and a bunch of videos explaining the forms. So hopefully you got that. Look in your inbox if you have not seen it, and super helpful. We'll also post the videos in our YouTube on our YouTube channel. And and then there's going to be a webinar by the UAR to explain these forms, and then look for class opportunities. There should be ample opportunity to get informed and educated on these before the August 17th deadline. So very exciting. They were released a little bit later than we initially planned, I think, or the UAR initially planned. And the reason for that was a lot of thought. There was new information coming out. There were, basically just kind of new information nationally. And so the UAR wanted to take the time to really investigate and think about it and make sure that the forms that were completed were the forms they wanted to release. And so there you have it. But they are out. Okay, so I wanted to talk about a couple, just a little scenario, sort of what happens if I have an existing buyer-broker agreement or listing agreement, and I'm coming up to the deadline and I don't have the property or a property under contract. And now we've moved from, it's August 16th. If we go under contract, it kind of kicks into the MLS system that we currently have, but August 17th, it might not. It won't, right? Because the rules will have changed by then. And so what do we do? What are you supposed to do? Well, there are two forms on there that actually don't have a video link to them currently. And they are two addenda, one for the exclusive right to sell and one for the buyer-broker agreement. And basically what these do is they're dealing with Section 2 of both of those agreements, both of those contracts, which is the compensation, the brokerage compensation agreement. And so they basically put it into the new format. So they'll take your existing listing agreement or your existing buyer-broker agreement and make them compatible with the post-settlement MLS world, where there is no BAC offered anymore in that post-settlement world, or there won't be, right? And so you may have forms with a client that still reference the BAC and that method of getting paid, and that will be disappearing. So they get it up to date. And so one way you can handle it is one way you could sign new agreements with your buyers and sellers. And I suppose that would be one way to do it, to sign the updated agreement, and you have the full thing, and you should be compliant. Another way would be to sign an addendum, and this addendum that's been provided by the UAR. And so basically the new world will be every contract, every deal, the compensation to the brokerages will be negotiated separately. There's no more relying on the MLS for that promise to get paid. And so from a buyer's standpoint, your buyers need to know that, hey, it's not that different than we have now, right? If it's not satisfied somewhere else, if the seller is not paying or listing brokerage isn't paying, then buyer, you owe me the brokerage fee, which is the same as it is now, but there's pretty strong language in there about the MLS and getting paid through there. Well, that's not going to be there anymore. So that just kind of reiterates, hey, I can't and won't take anything more than is offered in this buyer-broker agreement. Okay, that's part of the new settlement terms as well. Buyer's agent, you're locked into the compensation you agreed to in the buyer-broker agreement. So that language is in there as well in this addendum. And then on the listing side, this is where it gets a little more complicated, because in the new listing agreement, if you've watched that video, which I highly recommend, pull the forms up, look at them, watch the videos, join the webinar, sign up for a class, get informed as much as you can before you have to start using these. So the commission will now be split, right? Whereas now it's one total compensation, total commission to the listing brokerage, and then you might share that with the seller's authorization through the MLS. Well, now it's going to be, the new version, it will be listed as a brokerage compensation. So from the listing to the listing brokerage, this is how much we're getting paid, but then you authorize, the seller authorizes the listing brokerage to advertise that the seller or brokerage is willing to pay up to an amount that towards a buyer's agent's commission, right? And that will be, but that's a little different, right? Because it's not going to be handled through the MLS anymore. So this addendum will bring the exclusive right to sell up to speed with the new format of breaking that commission into two parts and authorizing the listing brokerage to communicate that there is an amount being offered potentially to pay for help pay the buyer's brokerage's commission. But again, that's all going to be negotiated per deal now. It's got to be in writing somewhere, whether it's in the contract as the seller paying it or elsewhere with maybe a listing brokerage paying it. So just understand these changes, and hopefully these two addenda will make a lot of sense as you understand the new format. These are just to help you bridge that gap for, I got a listing agreement signed, 3 weeks before the settlement deadline, still using the MLS as it's in its current format, but now we're going to move into the new world, don't have it under contract. We can no longer offer a BAC, so I need to address that, use this addendum, or you could re-sign a listing agreement that's in the new format. Either would work. So hopefully that's helpful. This will probably be more helpful if you've looked at the new forms, but that's what these two addenda do. Probably short-lived in our system because this won't apply to too many transactions, but there will be a number in that sort of no man's land of bridging the settlement date of August 17th. Ooh, that was a lot, more than I thought I was going to say today, but hopefully that's helpful. Remember, this is not legal advice. This is legal information only. If you need specific legal advice, please contact your attorney. Thanks for tuning in. Let us know if you have any questions in the comments. We'll do some more videos on these forms, maybe try to do some scenarios, try to just get as much material out there as possible. But thanks for tuning in and have a great day.